There were guild banners, divine weapons, rankings, or legends. There was only a door. 1 year ago, that dangers, carrying no history in Veyra and no promise that you would survive. But every time darkness rose, it found you standing before it. Welcome, adventurer, to Veyra's first anniversary. Walk with me now and witness the memories you forged. Our first great memory began with a feast, a mountain of goblin ears, and a summoning circle that should never have been completed. Together, the adventurers gathered 200,000 offerings. The earth split, the trees trembled, and Grakthok the Treebreaker answered the call. It was the first time Veyra witnessed what its new adventurers could accomplish when fighting as one. Ricolo, Lucifer, Ryscan, and Zeo, Slashy Cat, stood highest among those who fed the summoning ritual, and every adventurer in Veyra made that summoning possible. Then came the drums. An orc host marched beneath the banner of Grakthar. Every 20,000 fallen soldiers called another war chief onto the battlefield. The Drum War Chief, the Iron War Chief, the Bone Seer War Chief, the Siege Ram Captain, the Stormcaller, the Ashblade, the Mountain War Chief. When the last drum sounded, the Orc King of Grakthar crossed into Veyra. Snailbreaker, the Hermit Saint of Godgrave, and Kuhaku answered him with steel, and every adventurer in Veyra stood beside them. When autumn arrived, the goblins returned, but this time something followed them from the shadows. The haunted fields filled with twisted creatures, cursed sweets, restless dead, and laughter that came from places where nothing living stood. Jackblade the Harvest Butcher, Baron Bonesnicker, and Witch King Gobswold prepared the final feast. At its head sat the Goblord of All Hallows, waiting to make Veyra's adventurers his final course. Snailbreaker, the Hermit Saint of Godgrave, and Veyra led the hunt, and every adventurer in Veyra shared in the victory. The Helix of Fate, Voidrain, and Havoc carried their banners deepest into the darkness. Winter did not arrive quietly. The cold carried an army of lizardmen, corrupted carols, frozen beasts, and celebrations twisted into weapons. Gingerbound Cookie marched beside the behemoths of the Black Carol, the Corpse Caravan, the Cursed Winter Star, and the Devouring World Tree. Above them ruled Devil Santa Clausius, the false king of a winter without morning. Hatchet Raccoon, the Hermit Saint of Godgrave, and greedy Giant Raccoon broke his reign, and every adventurer in Veyra shared in the victory. The Helix of Fate, Casual Ahab, and Void Rain brought warmth back to Veyra. Then the moon became sick. A pale infection spread beneath its light. Rat swarms poured from the streets, plague mist swallowed the roads, and every victory seemed to make the disease evolve. Malrox, the Vermin Colossus, Morvex the Viridian Dread Knight, and Gorathul, the Putrid Vermin Emperor, rose from the infection. At the heart of it waited Noctyrix, the living venom, a plague given thought, hunger, and purpose. Coenrad, greedy Giant Raccoon, and the Hermit Saint of Godgrave led the containment, and every adventurer in Veyra shared in the victory. The Helix of Fate, Casual Ahab, and Havoc held the infected lines. Emberfall was the moment our battles became more than waves and rankings. It became a living story. The ash tasted old. Scouts vanished. Records were stolen. Monsters moved with coordination, and every omen warned that an ancient catastrophe was preparing to repeat itself. Cindermaw came first, then Basalt, then Glassclaw, three generals opening the road for Vorthrax the Void Elder. The adventurers crossed the wilderness, uncovered the broken oaths, and faced the Void Elder before Emberfall could be consumed. Dark King, Sun Potato, and Rushi Raccoon led the individual charge, and every adventurer in Veyra carried Emberfall toward victory. The Helix of Fate, Casual Ahab, and Delulu stood strongest among the guilds. Emberfall remembered Violet as a traitor. For years, the city repeated the same accusation until suspicion became history and history became law. But the adventurers searched the Ash District, entered the ruined observatory, walked through false memories, and opened the archive that Emberfall had deliberately sealed. The Emberwing Archivore guarded the first truth. Astroma devoured what remained beneath glass. At the end waited the Hollow Star Avatar, the shell of a catastrophe built around a condemned man's final will. Dark King, Shinokai, and Keshi broke that shell, and every adventurer in Veyra helped restore the truth. The Helix of Fate, Havoc, and Casual Ahab forced Emberfall to remember Valeth honestly. Long before the present age, an army of 10 million marched upon Emberfall. Grathmore shattered the first wall. Sereth sang wounds, opened faster than healers could close them. Varkle commanded the entire host, as though 10 million soldiers shared one mind. Every warrior defending Emberfall died. Only Kalen remained. With a sword in one hand and his legendary staff in the other, he fought alone, healing every wound until his mana was gone. Then Kalen offered something greater. He burned his own life into one final spell. And Harvok, the world-breaking tyrant, was consumed by Dawnfire, while every fallen warrior of Emberfall opened their eyes once more. Kalen did not survive the miracle. Emberfall did. Shinokai, Dark King, and Forthos carried the last dawn furthest, and every adventurer in Veyra kept its memory alive. The Helix of Fate, Havoc, and Veyra Empire honored the Unfallen with their victories. These were not stories that merely happened around you. They happened because of you. Every monster defeated, every collection completed, every guild banner raised, and every name carved into the rankings became part of Veyra's first year. But an anniversary should not exist only to mourn what has passed. It should allow the past to live again. Beyond the edge of ordinary time lies an island formed from memory itself. Welcome to Anniversary Island. Here, every chapter of Veyra's first year has been gathered into one place. Old enemies walk again. Forgotten rewards wait to be recovered. Unfinished collections may finally be completed. Nothing here is merely an imitation. The island remembers every victory, every defeat, and every adventurer who helped shape it. Across the island stand the memory gates. Each gate leads to a past event and the monsters that once threatened Veyra. Enter them to recover missing materials, finish old collections, and challenge enemies you may never have faced. The past will not surrender its treasures freely. At the island's heart stands the Anniversary Coliseum. Its gates welcome warriors, parties, and challengers seeking battles worthy of the first-year celebration. Victory earns recognition, but the greatest rewards belong to those who adapt